Not too long ago, I got back from a trip to Portugal. It was my very first time going to Europe. Funny story that's kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you anyway. About 5 weeks before the trip, I found out that I was going to Portugal. I was really excited, but I thought that Portugal was in South America. Because we have friends that speak Portuguese and they're from Brazil, and I just sort of...
Sure, that I can see the logic.
So it is really embarrassing to admit that I did not know that Portugal was in Europe, and I had booked the trip already before I realized. However, it was amazing, incredible, so much history and beauty, and it was really a great trip. I did try to do some recon for you about food. I visited all kinds of really exciting restaurants. I went to my first ever Michelin star restaurant, which was a bucket list item for me, and it was amazing. I also went to a shellfish only restaurant that was made famous in an Anthony Bourdain episode. By shellfish only, I'm talking like no fish, no fish that isn't shellfish, no vegetables, no side dishes, shellfish only.
Okay. You told me about that, but I didn't really catch on to that.
It was like really unique. Incredible, actually. Best shellfish I've had in my entire life by a mile. In fact, some of the things I'd had before, like scallops, I'm like, this has maybe ruined me for all time for every other scallop, because it was just so fresh, prepared perfectly, and prepared in a way that I didn't even know was possible, in fact. So that restaurant was really interesting. I did push myself way out of my comfort zone, and I ate things like barnacles, gooseneck barnacles.
Yes, I heard that. Don't Google it.
I ate some, I'll show you a picture. I ate some crab guts, like the innards of the crab. Brains and I don't know, whatever is in the main part of the crab shell that you normally don't eat. I ate that. I ate, there was a shrimp, jumbo shrimp, that was like as big as the plate. 3 of us shared it.
That's so funny.
It was incredible. So I will show you pictures from all of that, but I have to say that in all my research efforts to bring you new and exciting freezer meal recipes, I was not super successful, because a lot of what we had was seafood, and seafood does freeze, but the way that we had it, the way it was prepared, like the barnacles and things like that, which as a matter of fact, the barnacles were also at the Michelin star restaurant, so I ate them twice.
Hey, they're popular. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. Things like that are not gonna make it into our freezer meals. I mean, I should never say never, because
we've done some pretty amazing things. We've turned amazing food into freezer meals.
Totally. So you never know.
And it's still amazing after. That's the amazing part.
Completely. Like, people are blown away by what we've been able to accomplish in terms of pushing the limits in freezer cooking. But my attempt to bring you Portuguese cuisine, it was not as successful as I was hoping. But it really got me thinking about all of the different international cuisines that we have attempted to recreate freezer meals for. And so that's what today is all about. We're gonna bring you some internationally inspired dishes to celebrate my European vacation.
Not South America.
No, not South America. It was so interesting. I'm going to tell you more about some of my things later, because in case you're here for the food, that means that you've never visited our channel before.
Yeah, sorry about that. They're time-stamped.
You can click forward to the recipes, but we will get into the first recipe for you today.
The first recipe hails from Mongolia, and we know that because it's called Mongolian beef. Into our bag, we're going to add beef stir-fry strips. We're going to add in fresh ginger. We like to use our squeezy tube ginger because it's fast and it's fresh and we don't have to mince it ourselves. We're adding in minced garlic from a jar for the same reason. We're adding in soy sauce, a bit of water, some brown sugar, some matchstick carrots, and green onions that have been sliced up. We're going to mix that all around in the bag, and then we're going to remove the excess air and seal it up and freeze it. Now we need to get as much air as we can out of the bag because all that air in there is where the freezer burn comes from. The less air in there, the longer it can last in your freezer. We do recommend that you eat them up within 3 to 6 months though. When you go to cook this, you're going to allow it to thaw. All we're going to do is dump it into a skillet and cook it until your meat has cooked all the way through. You're going to whisk in a little bit of cornstarch into some cold water and then whisk that into your meat while it's cooking, and it's going to thicken up that sauce, and just give it a few more minutes till all the cornstarch is cooked through, and then bam, this is done. It has a great sauce, it has great flavor. You can serve it on rice, you can serve it on noodles, you could top it with some extra green onions, you could get fancy and put sesame seeds on it, and that is it. It is super fast to put together. It's for one of those days that you are like, you know that you are going to have max 30 minutes from the time you get home till you have to leave again for the next thing. You can absolutely do this in 30 minutes, cook it, eat it, probably wash your dishes before you have to leave again.
Absolutely, because this cooks up in about 10 minutes. So this is one where you can be like, everybody get your soccer gear on, you know, while you're stirring it in the skillet and, you know, running over and doing your paperwork and running back.
Yeah.
And it's a busy day meal.
It is totally a busy day meal, and we need those in our lives.
We're gonna take a little tour now over to Northern Africa, and I'm gonna share with you our easy chicken tagine recipe. For this recipe, you're gonna use bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, and you're gonna add those into a large resealable freezer bag. Then in a bowl, you're gonna mix together some paprika, turmeric, cumin, coriander, cinnamon, cayenne, and salt and pepper to taste. You're gonna sprinkle that onto the chicken in your bag, and then you're gonna seal it and give it a really good shake to coat all of that chicken. You're gonna open your bag up again to get as much air as you can out of there, and then you're gonna seal it up. Then in another large freezer bag, you're going to add some sliced onion, roughly chopped carrots, minced garlic. We just use ours from a jar to save time. Some minced ginger, again that squeezy tube, some lemon zest, lemon juice, honey, chicken broth, and mixed pitted olives. You're just gonna mix that together in that bag. You're gonna get as much air as you can out of that bag as well and seal it. Then you're gonna staple the two bags together above the seal. Then you'll have everything you need for the day of cooking. When you go to make this, you thaw it. You're gonna heat up some olive oil in a deep skillet. You're gonna add your chicken and sear that really well on both sides. And then at that point, you're gonna add that other bag that has the vegetables and sauce. You're gonna cover that and simmer it for about 30 minutes until your carrots are tender crisp, and you wanna make sure that your chicken has reached an internal temperature of 165 degrees. You can serve this one with rice or couscous or quinoa. It is pretty much your whole meal other than that starch that you can add, because it's got your vegetables and your protein. And you know, that array of spices that we put in there makes this so flavorful.
Keeping with the chicken, we are going to travel again, and we're going to go to Korea. This is Korean chicken, and it has that gochujang paste in it. If you have not experienced gochujang anything, you need to go right now to the international food section at your grocery store, or go to an Asian supermarket and go find gochujang. That is it. They have it in barbecue sauces. There's all kinds of, there's like a whole plethora of things that are made with this paste, and we're using just the paste itself because we're making our own sauce. My goodness, is that flavorful. There's a bit of heat to it, but man, we have chicken wings, we have this Korean chicken, and I want to say there's one more thing that we make with the gochujang.
Yes, definitely. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but since we discovered the gochujang, we're kind of, I think it might be a meatballs.
Yes,
But
you might be right.
Since we discovered it, we have been trying it in many recipes, and I would venture to say that this probably won't be the last you see of the gochujang paste.
Definitely not. So here is the Korean chicken, and we're going to start with our chicken thighs right in our large bag. We're going to then take a bowl and make our sauce. We're going to add in some low sodium soy sauce, the gochujang paste, honey, brown sugar, sesame oil, some rice wine or sake, some minced ginger, some minced garlic, and that is it. You're gonna mix that around, and then From the bowl, you're going to take half cup of that and put it into a medium-sized freezer bag. Get the excess air out of that, seal it up. The remainder of the sauce that's in your bowl, dump it in on top of your chicken. Mix your chicken around in that sauce so it's going to be great and marinated. Remove your excess air, seal that up, and then staple those two bags together, kind of like the other one. We're going to have all of our ingredients together on the day that we go to cook this. When you go to cook this, you can cook it in the oven, in the skillet, or on the barbecue. Really, it just makes a great marinade and then dipping sauce or a brush sauce that you can brush on at the end of cooking. The instructions are there. The recipes are linked in the description below, so you can go and have a look at that. And my goodness, please report back when you have had a chance to try this, because it is the best, best, best.
Next is our Thai-inspired peanut chicken. So good, and this is good like any time of the year. I was about to say this would be great for summer, but really, I'd eat this anytime.
It would be great anytime.
Into your large freezer bag, you're gonna add some boneless, skinless chicken breasts, diced red pepper, diced onion, minced garlic, some smooth peanut butter, lime juice, chicken broth, coconut milk, low sodium soy sauce, cumin, and red pepper flakes. You're gonna squish that around in the bag to combine everything, get as much air as you can out of there, seal it, and freeze it. When you go to make this, you thaw it, and this is one that you can just dump into your slow cooker. You cook it on low for 3 to 5 hours, and then you wanna cube or shred that chicken and serve it over rice noodles or rice or in lettuce leaves. You can garnish it with some crushed peanuts and chopped cilantro to get like the best fresh flavor.
Oh yeah, now I want that. When I was talking about the Korean chicken, I wanted the gochujang, and now when you're talking about the Thai peanut chicken, I want that.
You know,
we should not be doing these videos when we're hungry.
When we're hungry. This one reminds me a little bit of, well, obviously, of our Thai chicken satay. Mm-hmm. But that one has a peanut sauce, and you make the peanut sauce for dipping, and you can, like, I mean, need I say more? Satay, peanut dipping sauce.
And it is a great peanut dipping sauce. It's also one that you could do if you did like the rice paper with the little salad rolls and you dip it in the peanut sauce. You could use it for that too, right?
Yes.
This next recipe is Bahn Mi meatball sandwiches. I had never heard of these before, and then to have something that was in a sub bun or a hamburger bun was so weird to me for it to be Asian, right? Because this is from Vietnam. I didn't believe you. I'm like, I think you're just making this up. This is a big stretch, but it is the real deal, and it is really good. And you know what? We have like a huge number of meatball videos. Like, you don't understand. We have a lot of meatball videos, so it really does fit in nicely. We go get the big bag of Costco meatballs, and this is definitely one that you want to make, and you do want to have it in a sandwich. And here's how I know why. I went to a restaurant in Nashville, a Vietnamese restaurant, and they had banh mi chicken in a sandwich. And it was messy and awesome, and so is this.
And this is like got the right amount of crunch.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just all the things.
Oh, it's fantastic. So you definitely want to try this one out. In your large freezer bag, you're going to add the frozen pre-cooked meatballs that you can get at Costco. You're going to add in some Thai sweet chili sauce, low sodium teriyaki sauce, some fish sauce, some shredded carrots, and some thinly sliced jalapeno peppers. You're going to mix that around right in the bag, and then, like everything else, we're going to seal it up, get that excess air out, seal it up, and freeze it. When you go to cook this, this is super easy to just throw it in the skillet. Allow it to thaw a little bit, get it in the skillet, and then once it's hot, you can open up your sub buns, or you can do hamburger buns, you can do hot dog buns, it doesn't matter. So these ones are a little bit elevated. We're using baguettes. I would personally use a sub bun because baguettes hurt my mouth.
Yeah.
We've talked about Christy's tender mouth.
The baguettes are nice because you get that crunch, but if you also have a tender mouth like Christy does, then you can go ahead and use a sub bun or a hot dog bun, a hamburger bun, kind of whatever you have on hand. I would personally do some kind of a crusty roll, but I don't have the same issue. So
I could do like a Kaiser roll or something that's almost crusty. No, it's the baguette. It's just a me thing. There's a few of you out there. Last time I mentioned it, somebody said, I have a tender mouth too. It's such a weird thing to say, but this is the truth. Oh, you're gonna cut your baguette into 4 sections, cut it open, and then lightly toast it. Spread it with some sriracha mayo. You're gonna add your meatballs on top, and then you're going to add some fresh chopped cilantro and fresh chopped mint. Oh my goodness, this doesn't get any fresher. And then go ahead and have your crunch. So this is a really terrific meatball sandwich.
This next dish originates in Northern Africa, and you can also find it in the Middle East. And my husband is leaving in a few weeks to go to Turkey. He's gonna be gone for 2 weeks, which is making me feel a little nervous about, you know, parenting the toddler, running a business, keeping the house together, parenting the young adult children that still live here, and keeping it all
2
straight.
weeks is a long time by yourself to be single momming it.
But
With freezer meals.
with freezer meals, it is possible. However, I mean, my hat's off to all of you that do this on the regular, because I only have to do it a few times a year. And so it gives me a lot more respect for those of you that single parent all the time. And it's nice to have those little touches of reality where you're like, oh, normally I have it good, that I have help.
Yeah, right.
Right? So, and it helps you appreciate people that do this by themselves all the time. So my point is that Shakshuka is making me think of his trip to Turkey, and I'm sure he might have some when he's there, because thanks to our freezer meal shakshuka, he's discovered this is a dish that he loves. So into your large freezer bag, you're going to add some fire roasted tomatoes, diced onion, minced garlic, sliced roasted red peppers, sliced banana peppers, smoked paprika, chili powder, cumin, and a little bit of parsley. You're gonna squish that all together in the bag, get out your excess air, seal it, and freeze it. Now on the day you go to make this, you thaw it, you heat this in a skillet until it's bubbling, you reduce it to simmer, and then once those onions have softened, and you'll find that some of the liquid cooks off a bit so that it's a little bit thicker than when it started, you're gonna take the back of a spoon and you're gonna make 5 or 6 wells in this mixture. You're gonna crack an egg into each of those wells. Then you're gonna replace your lid and cook it until the eggs are to your desired doneness. So if you are like me and a little more squeamish with the eggs and you want them to be hard, you can cook them like that. Or if you are like my husband and like the runny yolk, then you don't have to cook this for very long at all. Then you can top it with some fresh herbs, and you can even put some crumbled feta on top. You can serve this one with crusty bread or crostinis, or if you're Christy, you can serve it with some soft bread.
What I usually serve it with is actually garlic bread. The very first time that I went to make this, I thought, I saw it on the, like all of our recipes you've noticed, the cooking instructions are right there on the label. So you have a clue is what you need to pick up if you need to pick anything up to finish this dish. And it says to serve with crusty roll or crostinis, and I'm like, I don't want a baguette. I don't know what else I have. I had a garlic bread that was in the freezer, and so I pulled that out and like, that'll work. So ever since then, we love it. So I just make a garlic bread with this, and that's what we have every time.
Perfect.
It works. Mm-hmm. Now we're not moving very far in terms of location, but this is actually another potential breakfast stew. And it is called Moroccan chickpea stew. And it is something that you can put an egg on at the end when it's cooked. And otherwise you can have it for lunch. You don't need the egg. It's just a really nice vegetarian meal.
Okay, I have to tell you, we recently, actually just last Saturday, had company over for dinner. It was my first time meeting them. It's a man that my husband went to junior high school with, and his wife. I've never met either of them before. And what my husband told me, as they're, going to be coming for dinner in a few days, is he is a meat eater, has to have meat, and she's vegetarian. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I've got this. Sure. But truly I did, because I have freezer meals and they are the secret weapon. So I pulled out a Mediterranean chicken sheet pan, because it's got those beautiful Mediterranean flavors and it's got chicken. So I figured he would be happy. and I made Moroccan chickpea stew because Moroccan chickpea stew and Mediterranean chicken
Go really nicely together.
pair beautifully. They even share some similar ingredients, not all, but I thought that would go beautifully. We made a Greek salad, had some bread, and that was it. So all I had to do was have one on the stovetop, one in the oven, and I was able to serve them a dinner that probably looked pretty impressive and fancy for the very little time that it took me to get it
No
made.
kidding.
Freezer meals to the rescue.
That's true, it's the best part. Into our large bag, we're going to add a diced onion, minced garlic, some peeled and cubed sweet potato, some chickpeas, diced tomatoes, pitted Kalamata olives, vegetable broth, some brown sugar, cumin, curry powder, paprika, cinnamon, turmeric, cayenne pepper, and salt and pepper. If you don't want this to be very spicy, you just ease up on the cayenne pepper. It only asks for a 1/4 teaspoon. If you like things spicy at your house, you can add a little bit more. That's just a really nice way to do it with the cayenne pepper. We're gonna mix this right in the bag, seal it up, and freeze it. When we go to cook it, just like Charlotte was saying, it's super simple. We're gonna simmer it on the stovetop, and we're going to cook it until our sweet potatoes are tender. So it really won't take all that long. You can do this in the slow cooker, 2 to 4 hours on low, and you want to serve it with rice or this thick bread for dipping. And like I said, if you wanted to, you could crack an egg on there, kind of like the shakshuka, and have it for breakfast, because that's how you found it in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah, it can be eaten as a brunch or breakfast item. The reason that I was in Portugal is actually that I was attending an event to learn about running online memberships and how to better serve the people in your membership and ensure that they are successful. So I have the Freezer Meals 101 Club that takes the guesswork out of freezer cooking, kind of does the hard planning work and things like that for you, and it works really, really well. We get amazing feedback. But one thing that I use as the measure of our success with the club is whether or not you're actually making the meals. And a lot of you are, which makes us so happy. We hear all the time how much this is changing your lives, what a difference it's making for you, and that's like, we're tickled when we hear that.
We really are.
Like that's...
She will forward me emails regularly of people who are commenting and emailing her saying, I just need you to know, A, this changed my life, or B, it's saving us so much money, or C, these taste fantastic. I had no idea that freezer meals could be like this.
Totally. And so it's our favorite part and we love it, but some of you, and maybe I'm talking to you, want to do it, have all the intentions to do it, and either don't believe that you can. Maybe you've tried meal prepping in the past and you've failed, or you're overwhelmed at the thought of where to start, or for whatever reason you haven't actually started. You have good intentions. You now have the ability because you've got the club and you've got you can go in and easily print off your shopping list and your prep list and your printable labels and all of the things, but you're having a hard time taking that first step. And so that's the thing that I went all the way to Portugal to figure out how to help you do this, because I really do want you to succeed with this. And I was able to come up with an idea. It is now in the club, so it is where we really ensure that you are successful. We make sure that you don't even, if you want to get started today, but you don't want to have to look through the 400 plus recipes and choose which ones you want to make and try to figure out if you're going to like them or not, and you don't want to make your meal plan quite yet in your shopping list, if you're not ready for that, we're just gonna give you a way to actually get this done, whether you're cooking for a family or cooking for one or two. And I'm so happy about it.
I'm really happy about it. We literally walk your hand through every step. If you feel confident in your prep, you can skip that video. But if you feel like you could use a little bit of hand-holding through your prep, we are there to help you out.
So we have improved the club because of that trip. But the thing that I was not expecting about my trip to not South America, but Europe, is that all the unexpected surprises, the things that didn't have to do with the work part that I was doing. My husband and I went with the group we were there with, and we went on this epic hike in Madeira, which is an island off of Portugal. And oh my word, it was the windiest day, and it was a little terrifying. I did have to confront my fear of heights. All the time. I will put a video overlay here.
And you look so stinking cute in your little blue jacket, and it's all zipped right up in her, and you just see her face sticking out of her hood, and you are so adorable, and I can't be more proud of you for doing your hike.
It was so cold, and it felt like the wind would pick me up and like throw me off the mountain. Like it was just so scary. But I did it, and I felt really proud of myself. And then the other part that was just really amazing is these unexpected blessings that happened when we were there. So my husband came with me, and he was just going to explore Portugal while I was in my work sessions. And the one day I came out and I was like, oh, where are you off to? Because he's standing at the front of the hotel waiting for an Uber. He's like, I'm going to meet these friends of ours who moved away 15 years ago. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's my first time in Europe. And these friends of ours happened to be there, arriving that same day, like the day that we arrived, they arrived. And they were there for the whole length of our trip. We hung out with them twice. My husband hung out with them 4 times because I was in my work thing. And then my husband found out that his cousin was going to be in Lisbon, in the city that we were in for part of the trip, for one day. He and his wife and their 2 kids were going to be in Lisbon for one day, and it happened to overlap.
Isn't that crazy? You hear stories about that all the time. The world is a big, big world, but it really, really isn't. It's quite small when you can get down to the brass tacks.
It's so interesting.
I love that stuff.
We went with them to a fado restaurant, so fado singing is really unique if you've never heard it. But it was a really fun night, and they speak Portuguese, he and his family, and it was my first time meeting them ever.
Oh.
So obviously my husband knows his cousin, and my husband was at a wedding of his brother last year, so he had just seen him, but I wasn't able to go. So I have never met them, and here I was meeting them like halfway around the world. So it was just like a really, really amazing trip, really interesting, like so cool with the way the streets are and the cobblestone, and like so beautiful, and the castles. It's so different than here.
Right.
Although I love our country too, like the Rocky Mountains.
Of course. I'm a prairie girl. I remember driving home from college and looking in my rear view, seeing the sun come up over the big prairie there, and I'm crying as I drive home. I'm a prairie girl. But you know, it's really great to go and see other places and go see the architecture and go see old places. Here in, northern Alberta, it's not very old. Things are far, but things aren't very old. Whereas, you go to Europe and things are old. Like this church has been here for 1,000 years.
We went to a tile factory. We also went to the tile museum. My husband was quite fascinated with how they make Portuguese tile. But we went to a tile factory that had been there since the 1700s. And once a year they use the original wood fire kiln that they have to actually make a brick door for, and then smash the door to get the tile from inside. It's just amazing. Everything is, but you're right. It's also so nice to come home. I love that feeling of coming home. So very fortunate to have been able to go. I'm so excited about the changes that we've made for you to the club. I feel like now this is going to be something where you can experience the freedom, like all of you, even the ones who have been a little afraid. And it's normal to be a little bit afraid because this is something different, and different is always scary.
It really is. We're just happy to help because we really, really do want this for you, because we love it for ourselves. Because
we've experienced what it was like, especially when our kids were younger. Oh my goodness, the difference this has made in my life. There just really are not words for it. And you know, earlier I'm saying, yeah, we had company over and it was really easy and nice to be like, and that's true.
But it's the everyday.
It is, yes.
And I'm in the thick of it right now because my daughter drives. She has a car and she drives, but my son doesn't yet. And this last year is the busiest he has ever been with sports and band and guitar, and it's me. Like, my husband works shift work, so he's not home a lot, and it's me. And freezer meals have saved my life because I am able to really walk in the door, make the Mongolian beef, and heck, minute rice if I have to. You just get it in there, you get it in yourself, and you get out because you got to go on to the next thing. And there are seasons of our lives that are that jam-packed all the time.
Moving on to our potato chickpea tikka masala. This is another slow cooker meal. It is inspired by the flavors of India, but made super simple because of our freezer meal hacks. So into our large freezer bag, we're gonna add some frozen diced hash browns, some drained chickpeas, diced onion, minced garlic, minced ginger, again from that squeezy tube, crushed tomatoes, fire roasted tomatoes, coconut milk, frozen peas, diced yellow pepper, minced jalapeno, garam masala, paprika, cumin, salt, coriander, turmeric, and a bit of sugar. We're gonna squish that together in the bag to combine it. This is a very full bag at this point. We're gonna get our air out, seal it, and freeze it. When we go to make this, we thaw it, throw the bag contents right into your slow cooker, cook this on high for 4 hours. You can add a tablespoon of lemon juice at the end of cooking just to brighten it up a bit. Serve this with naan or rice, and if you want, you can sprinkle some fresh cilantro on this. So good and so easy because it was a freezer meal, and we used the extra hack of using those diced hash browns, so we didn't even need to peel and chop our potatoes. The reason that we use the diced hash browns is because raw potatoes do not freeze and then heat well. We do have a free cheat sheet for a wet freeze as well, so if you have those questions like, can I freeze potatoes or can I freeze lettuce? No, but you can freeze cabbage. Check out that cheat sheet because I think you'll be surprised by what you find.
You might be saying to yourself, why are there no Chinese recipes? And you're right. We have kind of picked all around China, but we haven't been in China. We've been all over North Africa and the Middle East, no China. Well, I'll tell you why. We have an entire video of Chinese takeout where everything is Chinese inspired. It's got like the beef and broccoli, it's got the cashew chicken, it's got those things that you would go and order or have delivered or go and pick up or go hit a buffet, and you know, it costs a lot of money sometimes to do those things when you could pull all that out of your freezer for a fraction of the cost, and my goodness, they're so tasty. So we have a whole video that we're gonna pop up right there, and you can check out our Chinese takeout video and get those recipes too.
It is more delicious in my experience.
So good.
It's fresher, and you can control what goes in there. So if you're trying to limit your sodium, if you don't want MSG, like all of the different dietary things that you have, you can absolutely control all of that because you're making it, and a fraction of the cost.
So this recipe is beef barbacoa. We are heading towards South America, but it's a Mexican dish, and my understanding is that this is a fairly authentic one that we have for you here. In a large freezer bag, you are going to add a beef chuck roast or a beef rump roast. You're going to cut it into 3-inch chunks. You're going to add some diced onion, some chipotle peppers in adobo sauce, the whole can right in there. Now that sucker's spicy, but you will like it, I promise. Then you're going to add in some minced garlic, lime juice, cider vinegar, cumin, oregano, ground cloves, salt and pepper, and a couple of bay leaves. You're going to mix that around right in the bag, and you're going to seal it up and freeze it. When you go to cook this, you'll allow it to thaw. You will cook this in the slow cooker. Now, this is a low and slow. We're talking 8-9 hours here in your slow cooker. Let that meat tenderize and break down, because then it's going to be shredded and clumpy, and you're going to serve this with rice or in tortillas. You can put this on like a taco salad idea. You can serve it just with salsa and tortilla chips, and definitely add a bit of chopped cilantro to freshen it up. It is wonderful. What a wonderful, wonderful dish. I love it so much.
And this is also one that you can do in the Instant Pot.
Yes, you can.
If you prefer to use your Instant Pot, and then it will be ready a bit sooner. But yeah, just the flavors and also the smell of this one. It's like permeates through the house in the best way.
You got neighbors knocking on the door saying, "What are you cooking over there?" Well, it's the beef barbacoa. And actually, you probably have enough here that you can feed your neighbors. It goes a long way.
Truly, it's a big one. Thank you so much for being here as we took a trip around the world and visited some of our internationally inspired freezer meal cuisine. We actually have a whole lot more internationally inspired recipes, so you can check out the links in the description below for these recipes. You can go to freezermeals101.com, and if you're interested in taking the leap and getting some meals stacked in your own freezer, then I invite you to check out the Freezer Meals 101 Club, where we will help you and cheerlead you and get you to the point where you can experience dinner freedom too. Thank you again for being here, and happy cooking!